Welcome back to the course. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you've been enjoying seeing all these different revenue streams in the previous trainings that are going to be making you money. And yes, ad revenue, sponsors, all those other options, those are great, but the best is still yet to come. In the rest of this module, we'll be getting into the real heart of your YouTube business, which is creating high-ticket offers. These are going to be your flagship products and services that you're ultimately going to be trying to get your audience to buy, such as online courses and private coaching. These are going to be how you're truly going to change people's lives at scale and build a business that makes 6, 7, or even 8 figures a year. But first we need to answer, why sell high ticket? Because isn't it harder to sell things for a high price? Well, let's do some maths here. Let's say you want to make $1 million. Who doesn't, right? You could get the exact same revenue with selling 1 million ebooks at $1 each, or selling 500 courses at $2,000 each. And so, although, yes, it's easier to find people willing to spend $1, it's so much easier to find 500 people who love what you're doing and really connect with it than find 1 million people wanting to buy what you offer. The hardest part of a sale is actually going from $0 to $1. In other words, getting someone to spend anything at all. Seriously, from a financial point of view, it's significantly easier to reach your goals selling less, but at a higher price point. Not only that, it's so much less administration and management when you're selling high ticket. You're dealing with less customers, which creates far less work, far less issues, and it also allows you to dedicate more time to each client or to each customer and get them even better results. High ticket offers at a high price point typically attract the best customers as well. People who understand the value of investing in themselves and are willing to go all in to get results. But perhaps the most important reason of all to have high ticket offerings to sell to your audience is that when people pay, they pay attention. Now, we're about to dive into some price psychology here, so please use this information ethically by only applying it once you have a great product or service to sell, as this really is powerful stuff that can generate substantial wealth very quickly. First things first, though, we all generally believe that price equals quality. We kind of know this instinctively, but it's backed by research as well. For example, there was a Stanford experiment where people were given 2 identical glasses of wine, but told that one of them cost double the price of the other. And when the participants were drinking this wine, the pleasure receptors in the brain were much more active while drinking the wine that they were told was more expensive. And when they were asked about it, the participants concluded, yeah, that was the better wine. But it was the exact same wine. It's just they were told that one of them cost more, and so they perceived that one as higher quality. But what does high price indicating high quality mean for us in practice? Well, the thing is, when it comes to buying information products or coaching or anything that achieves a transformation in our lives, we want the highest quality option. If you're designing your products and services to achieve a transformation that someone really, really wants, or is targeting a real pain point in their life that they really want to fix, nobody wants the budget, low-quality option to save money. They want the premium option. And so, since high price indicates high quality, it actually makes your offer more appealing, not less, when you sell high ticket. Plus, as if that wasn't enough, high prices not only signal high quality of the product or service, but they further help position the person selling them as an expert. Because people kind of assume you must know your stuff if you're charging high prices or higher than average for this industry prices, and you're getting people results as well. So it's another indirect benefit of this. It kind of positions you as an industry leader by the fact that you're actually charging those kind of prices. But here's where the real craziness kicks in, as if it wasn't crazy enough already. When people perceive something to be higher quality, and when they've invested a relatively large amount into it, they take it more seriously, and as a consequence, they get better results. The truth is, there's a lot of free information out there that's actually really good, but people think, oh, it's free, it can't be that good. Or likewise, if you buy a program but you pay hardly anything for it, you're much more likely to not bother with that. After all, you won't really notice the money being gone, and so you end up concluding the program just wasn't that great. Whereas if you pay a lot of money for something, you're going to want to make sure you use it and get the absolute most out of it. You've got skin in the game, so to speak. So you're much more likely to take action. The point of all this is to say that raising your prices can be win-win, not only because you earn more money and expand the business further, but you can literally get better results for your customers and clients in the process, which in turn leads to more success stories, further fueling this business growth cycle. Because people are getting better results from it because they've paid more and because they've taken it more seriously. And as a result, it gives you more social proof that you're an industry leader because you're charging these high prices but getting people great results. Of course, you still need to have a great product or service for this to work and for you to get great results for people. But if you can deliver on what you promise and you do have a great product or service, then hopefully you can see the power of high ticket offers. But there's actually even more price psychology at play when it comes to high ticket offers, because another factor to consider is that pricing is relative. And so high ticket offers make upsells and order bumps, which is just bundling multiple things together in a single deal. It makes those significantly easier. Let's just look at another practical example. You go to buy something for $5 and then at the checkout, they add on a $5 processing fee. Well, that seems like a pretty big deal because you're now paying double as much. Whereas if you're buying something for $1,000 and they add on a $5 processing fee, it seems much less insignificant, right? It's the exact same amount, of course, but it's relative. So let's look at another hypothetical. This time, you're buying a high-ticket course for $1,000, and at the checkout, they have an add-on with bonus content that can help make the course even better. And that just costs $50. Well, $50 compared to the $1,000 you're already spending doesn't seem like all that much. You're already in that buying state, so in that scenario, a lot of people would add the extra $50 item. But if they were buying that $50 item on its own, they'd probably consider it a lot more. So again, my point here is high ticket pricing actually allows you to sell more. So I think you'll agree it's fair to say high ticket sales beats low ticket sales almost in every way. And contrary to popular belief, it's easier, so to speak. I'm not saying easy because you have to put in all this groundwork with YouTube before you're in a credible position to sell high ticket. That's why you've been building a targeted audience, providing free value and positioning yourself as an expert. Everything in this course has been leading you to a position where you can sell justifiably high ticket products and services and get better results for your clients in the process. Because once you have a strong brand and social proof and free content proving your expertise, you're perfectly placed to sell high-ticket products and services. And so the reason I wanted to stress all of this so strongly is that a lot of people have reservations about charging hundreds or thousands of dollars for their expertise. I myself had this at first. It's really normal to have limiting beliefs about what's possible because we're kind of brought up thinking that that sounds crazy. But actually it's happening all the time. It's not crazy at all. But I think that's why it's so crucial that you're willing to invest in yourself. Because the fact you've bought this course right here will give you the belief that you can charge this much for your own products and services. It almost seems to be that whatever price people are willing to pay to invest in themselves is the same price they're comfortable with charging others. That's why there are people charging over $100,000 for their expertise because they've invested so much in themselves and their own learning, so it shifted their mindset to realize, oh, actually, no, it does make sense to invest this much money because I got all this value out of it. So I can also charge this much as long as I'm giving all these other people so much value out of it. In fact, there's a great quote I like to sum a lot of this up, which is that you're paying me for the years, not the hours. So for example, with coaching, some people might find the idea of charging hundreds or even thousands of dollars per hour just crazy. But your pricing isn't just for your time right now. It's for the countless amount of hours and months and years you've put in to getting to this point of becoming the expert. All those hours when you were learning your craft without getting paid, that's being factored into the price you're able to charge now. I also find it helpful to remember how much debt people take on for college, often over $50,000 for outdated information that's far less practical. So in comparison to that, $997 for a course or $400 an hour for personalized coaching from an expert doesn't seem crazy at all. And this isn't a knock on college, it's just a reminder that as long as what you're selling delivers more value than what you charge, it's a great deal, regardless of the price. So if you sell something for $10,000 and it makes someone $100,000, well, it was a great investment from them. However, up until this point in the training, we've just been saying high ticket. And obviously, the actual specifics of that are going to vary depending on what your niche is and what you're actually selling. The thing to remember is that the bigger the problem you're solving, the more money you can charge. And likewise, the more impact it's going to have, the more people are willing to pay. As for the exact amount, well, online courses typically sell anywhere from $47 to $4,997. And generally, I'd say $497 and $997 are the typical sweet spot for high-ticket programs. And that's just because these numbers are what the market has kind of acclimatized to. As a side note to all this, if you're wondering about the sevens that all these numbers end in that I'm saying, again, it just comes back to clever pricing psychology. It's actually based on the idea that the first number that we read resonates with us more because we read from left to right, which I know sounds a little silly, and obviously it's a subtle effect, but this practice is used widely all around the world with nines. You'll see shops that charge $199 instead of charging $200. The dollar difference or the penny difference, whatever it is obviously pretty meaningless, but our brains subconsciously see it as notably cheaper. And I feel like with the course industry, 7 has become the new 9, just an even stronger version of the 9 effect. After all, if you can make your pricing feel much more enticing for the sake of a few pennies or a few dollars, it's worth it. So if 1997 is gonna register as significantly lower in the subconscious mind of your prospect and your leads compared to $2,000, well, that $3 difference is definitely worth it if it's gonna have that effect on people. And again, I know it's subtle. I know obviously people are smart enough to realize what's happening there, but the fact that it's so widely used just shows you that it does make a bit of a difference. But anyway, now you know why to sell high ticket. But as for how to sell high ticket, well, that's what this whole course has been about. YouTube is the perfect place to attract your ideal clients and customers who will become part of your community through your free content. And then some of those people will want to buy your premium offerings once you've already provided them with value and shown your credibility. You just need to start telling your audience about what you're offering and linking them to either a sales page or a video webinar or even an email list sign-up page where they can then learn more about it and eventually make a purchase, which we'll get into more in the rest of this module, but accepting payments is actually very easy. You can just use a payment processor like Stripe and they'll pretty much handle everything for you. However, the caveat to all this is that if you're trying to sell anything over $1,000, in that case, I definitely recommend getting people on the phone to help close the deal. As many people are reluctant to spend over $1,000 on a sales page, no matter how great the product or service seems. They want to speak to a real person first. For under this amount, I tend to find that you don't necessarily need to get them on the phone, but over this amount, generally speaking, it can definitely help your close rate a lot. So if you have some really high-end offers that you're selling, it just means that rather than directing them straight to a sales page or a place where they can find out more information and then go to a sales page, instead, you want to direct them somewhere where they can book a call with you. And what I like to do is have them fill out some kind of application form to ensure that they're a good fit and that they're actually serious about this. And once they've filled that out, and that's very simple to do again, either in a software like ClickFunnels or even with something as simple as Calendly, you can have it where they can fill out some information that you ask and then book a time. However you decide to do it though, having that application form just ensures that you're getting the right people onto calls. So let's say in your YouTube video, you go and announce, I've got this new program that helps take people from X to Y. If you're interested, just check out the top link in the description. So then when they click that, that takes them to the page with a bit more information and the application and the place where they can book their call slot. And then that's going to schedule in your calendar a time where you're both going to get on a call to have a chat. Now, I know at this point, some people are reluctant. I was when we first started doing this in our business because people often have a bit of a stigma about sales. However, the actual reality is that sales is just persuasion, and we all sell people on ideas and our way of thinking every single day. So sales doesn't have to be sketchy at all. In fact, If you're helping people, you're doing them a disservice to not sell them your solutions that you can offer. Because that's what you're selling, solutions to their problems. But not only that, the call that they're going to book with you, it isn't going to be a traditional sales call. The call is for closing the deal. Because before you even get on the call with someone, they should already know about you from your YouTube videos, and they should already know what you're offering from the page you directed them to. So they should already be interested when they get in on the call. This isn't a cold call where you're pitching someone out of the blue. This call is simply to deal with any objections or doubts they have, confirm it's a good fit for them, and close the deal and get the payment. Therefore, they should be doing most of the talking on the call. It shouldn't be you listing out all the benefits and reasons to buy this thing that you're selling. They've come to you because they want your help with this topic. So the call should be them explaining their current goals and struggles, and you can then use that information they give you to present your product or service as the solution, assuming that it really can help them, of course. If not, then you recommend them something different. In fact, a simple but effective question to ask on the call, after some initial brief small talk, obviously, is just, how can I help you? As this frames the conversation the right way of them coming to you for help. And it also gets them to open up about what they actually need help with. So they end up selling themselves on why they need your help. Just remember, people don't buy because you list the features and benefits of a product or service. They buy with emotion and then justify with logic, which is why getting to the heart of their problem, understanding what they're trying to solve, is going to be the key. The point is, though, although the first times that you get on a call with someone, it might feel a little strange, ultimately you've just got to remember you're chatting with someone who likes your videos and is interested in your help. So it's not actually as strange as it sounds. And some people do the same thing through direct messages instead of calls. So, for example, they'll send someone to a page, and after they fill out the application form, they'll get them into a chat on Messenger, or they'll send them to their LinkedIn or Instagram and talk with them there. But to be honest, getting someone on a call is the fastest and most effective way to actually build rapport with someone and get them to invest heavily in products and services right then and there. Whereas with direct messenger, it can drag on for a lot longer. Whereas on a call, you can really convince people of why this is going to be a good fit for them, answer any questions they've got all at once, and get them in that state where they're ready to buy. However, the final thing we need to talk about with high-ticket sales is what happens when you inevitably get the objection that the price is too high. Because some people are going to say that. And the answer is that if people aren't buying, there's really two main reasons for that. Number one is that they just can't afford it. If they say the price is too high because they don't have the money, well, in that case, rather than just going, okay, I guess that's it then, instead you can offer them a different product or service that's a lower price. So maybe you have your main course that you're selling for over $1,000 or for $500 or something, but then you've got something that's a bit more basic, a bit more of a simpler introduction for people who are just getting started and don't want to invest so heavily. And so you could direct them to that instead. Alternatively, something I think is a great thing to do is offer people a payment plan or finance options. Because not only can you actually charge more in the long run that way, more importantly, it allows them to spread the cost over multiple months potentially. So for example, rather than paying $1,000 up front, they pay $350 over the course of 3 months. So it's slightly higher overall, but only a tiny bit. And as a result, it feels like much less all at once. And hopefully by the end of the time they've been paying for it, they've already got results at that point. So it's kind of a win-win in that scenario. But I think the only exception to this objection of, oh, I can't afford it, is when people are saying that who clearly have money issues and they're really heavily in debt, or, you can just tell that they're not saying they can't afford it because they aren't convinced. They're saying they can't afford it because they're in real serious money issues. And in that case, obviously, you don't want to be selling anything to them because they're not the right fit for this. All I'm saying with this point, though, is you shouldn't just assume that when someone says it's too expensive, that it means they literally do not have any money at all and are in debt. You shouldn't assume that straight away, because often people say it's too expensive because of this second reason, which is they don't believe the value is worth the price. This is actually the most common reason when people say it's too expensive. Most people could get the money together if they truly believed it was worth it. If they honestly thought this was the full solution to their problems, well then they could scrape the money together. I'm pretty sure of that for most people. So what happens here is that when people hear this objection of, oh, it's too expensive, I don't think it's worth it, people then go and slash their prices, which actually hurts their credibility. Because remember, people want the premium option. Just think of premium brands. You don't see Rolex slashing 50% off their prices and doing bargain special offers. And so it should be the same with your high ticket products and services. You don't want to start offering major discounts because then the people who paid full price are going to become unhappy, and nobody's ever going to want to pay full price if people hear that, oh yeah, you can negotiate big discounts off it. No, we don't want to be in a race to the bottom with price and try and be the cheap option. But that said, if we're not decreasing price, what can we do? Well, let's just go back to the problem here. We're saying that they don't believe the value is worth the price. So if we're not going to lower our prices, the other thing to do is increase the perceived value. If they don't believe the current value of the product or service is worth it, we simply need to add more value by either positioning it differently, or better yet, adding in bonuses and extras that can bring the perceived value to a higher level than the price. Because at the end of the day, if you're presenting someone with an offer that's, in their opinion, more valuable than the price that you're asking for it, well, they're going to want to do that. Ultimately, though, when dealing with any sort of objections, whether on the phone or of a message, whatever it is, you've just got to remember that not everyone's going to be the right fit for any product or service. And that's okay. Because there are around 8 billion people on the planet. Like we said earlier in the course, 1,000 true fans is more than enough to build an incredibly successful business. With high-ticket products and services, you don't need loads of customers. You just need to find the right customers, which allows you to work with the people you want to work with and the people who are going to get great results with your systems. And so in the next 2 trainings, we'll be talking more specifically about creating your own high-ticket products and services, and I'll see you there.